Is that better? Can everyone hear?
Yeah!
Hello! Okay, thanks JT, that was really cool, that was amazing. My name's Kate, I started up my own market garden 3 years ago. So I'm one of the new entrants to market gardening. I've got no background in farming, I didn't inherit a family farm. And so I just wanted to talk briefly about the issues facing people who do want to get back into this really cool thing of producing food and working on the land, even though, sort of fighting against the tide of going away from that. So when I set up, I found myself facing 3 main issues. The first was finding skills to go on the land. The second was finding the land. And the third was finding the money to get going on the land. With the first one, I did do a soil association apprenticeship for 2 years. So the main thing really is the only way of getting into this thing. I didn't know anything about it at school. We didn't get taught anything about farming or food at all at school. We got school dinners that were horrible, so we just didn't even like to think about food at school. So the only way, really, it seems to me, to get into food or farming if you're not born into it is by luck or by really, really, really wanting it. And the second issue is finding land. I was very, very lucky and managed to find a very nice local farmer who would rent me a very small piece of land. But again, are we, leaving that all up to luck each time? Are we just hoping that somebody nice, out of the goodness of their heart, will rent us land at a reasonable price rather than taking advantage? The third issue is finding the money as well. I work part-time, I used all my savings up, and I also got hold of a small grant to set up my business. But again, that's very hard to find grants. It's relying on the fact that I had some savings and also that I was able to work part-time. If I had a family to support as well, there's no way I could have done that. So agreeing with JT, I think the 3 things really that I'd like to mention today to DEFRA is, 1, putting food back into schools and on the curriculum, and also farming generally, just anything land-based in schools. There's a slight sort of appetite for it now with schools, no pun, with free school meals, but I think it needs to be taken a lot further, and people actually need to work out where their food comes from. You listen to surveys that say to children, where do you think milk comes from? Some of them say, oh, doesn't it grow on trees or something? It's terrifying where people think their food comes from. And they also need to realise that only food that is sustainable food comes from their storybook image of what a farm's like. Most food comes from basically a factory. And they need to realise that's where that food comes from, and they need to realise that really if they want nice food, they need to get it from proper small farms. And the third issue, again touching on the cap in the EU budget, is that I totally agree. If farms have to have more than £150,000 in order to sustain huge industrial farms, they're not economically viable. They shouldn't exist then. If you're going to use that, you need to be economically viable to be a small producer. I say ignore that. What about if you need that much money as a big farm? You're not economically viable, so concentrate the money on the people who actually need it. Concentrate the money on the people who are growing a lot more food per money put in as well. And just give a huge number of benefits to society. Not only do they give better food, more food, because it's fresher and has more nutrition, that helps with the NHS budget. You're educating people about food, so you're helping out in the education budget. So just the amount of benefits are just massive. So I just say, please address those 3 issues. It just makes sense, and sort it out. Thank you very much.